Parts of Truth. Truth. I want to express myself today about a situation in the country, about how screwed up we are under a so-called government that can have us shut down, and to help encourage others not to give up the fight, not to lose faith. We do need to question the legitimacy of the so-called government that I refer to as a rogue regime. It's not really a government of the people, by the people, and for the people in a real democracy. Those who think this is a democracy are living under an illusion. So it's not a matter of democracy being under threat or in jeopardy. There is no democracy. Then we have the lost left wing refusing to, in general, participate in electoral politics and basically leaving the field open to the powers of corporate capitalism and all their billions behind them, when the power to vote is one of the few powers that the masses have now. So we are in a screwed up situation. To me, the majority of Americans are similar in mentality to the German population during the rise of Nazi Germany. Though I do need to study more about how they were back then. I see obedient, passive population with its priorities upside down, believing government lies, fascist propaganda, or even worse, not really giving a shit. Not really giving a damn. Unless it's going to affect them personally. So, in a rue, this manufactured shutdown at least has the capacity to get people's attention, especially when we figure how many of us are primarily motivated by our own selfish personal interests without any real genuine concern for the interests of the masses globally, the masses worldwide. So even if what seems like a bad thing gets worse, understand that in a way, suffering, the personal suffering, helps to wake people up. Either that or they could slip further into denial. So we need to understand reality as it is now, what I call connected reality. Do what we can in our own personal lives to improve our personal situation, yet at the same time be concerned about what's going on in the world. See the big picture on a global level. See the need for global unity. To go beyond the divisions that separate us and help build bridges of understanding between all of us here on Mother Earth. So we need to see the essential need for global unity among all poor and oppressed people, among all those who suffer, and see that those of us who are blessed to be with internet connection, blessed to be online, we have a special responsibility to those who are not online, to those whose voices are never heard, especially those who are in prison. Prisons today are America's concentration camps. So there is so much that keeps us divided. We're divided by ideology. We're divided by races, R-A-C-E. And to talk for a minute about racism, there is really only, on a global level, there is really only one race. That's the human race. The concept of separate races, R-A-C-E-S, is a social invention. Black, brown, yellow, white, and subdivisions of that. So we need to see that we're one race, and maybe I need to repeat that over and over and over again till it sinks into people's minds. The other kind of racism that we call racism against a particular group, is a social invention. There is no DNA of separate races. We're all of human blood. And we have the division about nations. When we see this nation against that nation, when in reality, under global fascism, excuse me, I always forget this. Under global fascism, there is no independent nation. A genuine nation controls its own land, has sovereignty. So the idea of, say, tribal nations nowadays is an old-fashioned idea. The idea of any kind of a Chicano nation is insane. The U.S. itself is not even a true nation. What? It's a colony. The USA is an internal colony of the U.S. empire. So now we need to question lot of assumptions, especially those of us who consider ourselves as progressives or as revolutionaries. Or I am first and foremost a humane being. I seriously doubt if we're going to exist long enough to create a revolution in connected reality at this point. I try to be positive and have a positive attitude about life on a day-to-day basis. Yet, in the long run, in the big picture, we look like we're pretty much going straight to hell. There's so many obstacles in our way, and including obstacles that we manufacture. You know, our character defects. You know, our false pride. Us being unwilling to learn from others. So at the same time, it's worth trying to resist the evils of the world. I'd rather go down fighting than go down on my knees. Until we understand that we are living under a mature fascism that has been decades in the making, how can we ever attempt to overthrow what we refuse to believe even exists? People in the USA are in such a strategic position that together we can have a positive global effect upon the rest of the world. You know, we're in, as Che Guevara called it, the belly of the whale. I consider it as being in the mind of the monster. So what we do or do not do has global effects. So most Americans are just trying to keep food on their table, they'll make it through the day, and as time goes by, you know, we need to see more and more how we do have powers that we're not really utilizing like we should, including internet power. You know, join a progressive political party, one kind or another. Not the Democrat or Republican Party. The hell with them. Start a local group, even if it's just a book club. You know, get registered to vote. Be aware of what's going on. When you get time in your busy lives, attend your local city council meetings. You know, become more of a directly involved citizen of the world. You'll see that you stay awake and that you not cut down on people in terms of calling them sheepy or what. Was no one born with a heavy revolutionary mentality. You know, we were born ignorant. And if we refuse to accept valid criticism, then what was ignorance becomes stupidity. So I try not to worry. I'm not worried too much about smoking because I seriously doubt we'll outdo this century. And I'm not sure how long we have in terms of decades. I mean, who can? So we need to do what we can now to express ourselves and to let other people know what you think, not getting hung up on approval. To see that we're all in this together. Namaste.